we're going into qualifying then, here for D3 here in Australia, for the Australian Grand Prix of Ground Effect Racing League. This track in Australia is a track that hosted a partnered league pre-season events of Formula Asphalt, which is partnered with Ground Effect Racing League, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously that league a lot smaller, so there's 4 cars in Formula Asphalt, and there is, I don't know how many there is, but there's a lot more than 4, as you can see here. Yeah, let me just share this stream into chat so that the D3 commentary has the link. There we go, that's all sorted. Now let's go. We got 19 drivers here today. My game chat's on, is that an issue? Might be, might not be, who knows. So, Division 3, let's see what happens. So, I think, if I'm not mistaken, all the divisions go at the same time. So all the races for all the different divisions happening at the same time. So D1's happening right now, D2, D3, all of them are happening at this very moment in time. This is probably one of the biggest leagues that there is at the moment. How many members are there again? There's a lot. I think there's 6 divisions of competition. There's a couple cars coming out of the pits. Let me get the Delta and things like that on. There we go, we've got the track map. And that is one of the Mercedes heading out the pits. That is Pat Pedder heading through the turn 3-4 section. Now around the flat turn 5. There's one of the Haas's coming out, one of the Saubers, both Ferraris and a Williams coming out of the pits as well. Looking to be a very good race. I'm just going to get something up that I will need for this commentary. Obviously, I'm a new voice on the commentary panel for this league, and hopefully it's one that you'll become accustomed to over the next few days and over the next few races. So heading through the turn 13 corner, heading up. And now into the last corner, we have the first lap of the day being from the Mercedes of Pat Pedder, even, as he comes down the main straight into turn 1, and we get to see what kind of benchmark he will set, as he will be the one to start this qualifying session. He's invalidated almost immediately. That's very unprecedented from my memory. He's gone through turn 1, 2 and invalidated. It's very hard around here to string a good lap together, especially in my own experience. But see, head into turn 3, otherwise known as the... oh, that's a different thing. Heading over and around turn 5 and 6. Round the fastest section on the track, where George Russell has faced a lot of consequence, but Liam Muck hasn't faced any severe consequences at all, as he heads now down into the fast zigzag of turn 9, fastest sector 2 of anyone. He will take over from Pat Pedder as the benchmark time here in Division 3 for Ground Effect Racing League in the Australian Alps. That doesn't make sense, does it? As we head up into the last 2 corners, and then we will get the first time of the day. Now the pole time is expected to be a 1:15.5. Are we going to get anywhere near that on the first run of the day? It's a 1:16.4. We're a second away from that expected pole time at the moment, as, if I'm not mistaken, one of the Saubers are going over the line, and he takes pole by 4/10, only a 1,000th of being a 1:16 dead, a 15.5. There we go, that's the pole time that was expected, and it's the pole time in Q1 by Turbo Chris in the very early stages of GRL at the moment. There's a Red Bull going slowly, that's Jammy getting out of the way and just sorting traffic out. It's a very busy track at the moment. They've all gone out for the runs. The last sector especially is very busy indeed. Raz has just gone over the line to complete his lap to go P4, just behind his teammate by about 1/10 of a second. 3/10 behind the pole time is GRL Atten, the owner of this league. Or if he's not the owner, he's one of the predominant figures of this league, as Weezer, was that Reza? In the Alpine, going ahead of the trusted man of TDR. Trusted. Terrible pun there's. Heading into turn 3 and going past the PK grandstand. As try and catch someone who's actually on their flying lap. Fastest sector 1 for Ames, but he's invalidated. One of the Ferraris have gone off, have they? Or probably not. One of the Mercedes has just shot up to the top of the time. So that is Jay Slynn in the number 17 Mercedes car. Great stuff there by the Mercedes, jumping at him in the 77 Ferrari. He's actually got the number 13 in game. As we're waiting for the Sauber, he's on a slow lap at the moment. Got one of the Aston Martins coming into the pits, so the next person to set a realistically good time will be one of the Red Bulls. That'll be Nano. He goes over the line here. Let's see what he can do. He's 18th at the moment, and he's 5th now. He splits the Saubers. He's in a steak sandwich. She sounds very tasty. Something that Subway should put on their menu as he heads through turn 1 and 2. One of the Alpines has just gone to P12, the more leader, who's more not the leader at the moment. He's more in P12 if you had asked me, but heading down into the third corner, going past the PK grandstand and the sports centre, as I think one of the Red Bulls just gone over the line, is that, or not too sure. I think one of the Hasses as well going over the line to start their lap. That is Kater, and he's invalidated, so bad one for him. Adrian now heading through turn 1 and 2. He hasn't invalidated, and we'll stick with him for a bit longer. The number 78 Aston Martin car. Adrian with triple N on the end of his name, as he heads through past the PK grandstand, around the Ricardo corner and into the Summerland section of turn 5, and then to turn 6, 7 and 8. Very tricky section as he heads past the balconies and past the Jim Clark hillside grandstand, before then heading into turn 9 and 10, the fast flowing left-right section. Flat out through the section. He's got purple in sector 2 and he's gone wide. That may affect his lap. He's not invalidated those who he could realistically complete the lap. It might lose him a bit of time, yeah, sure. But he will be able to get a representative time on the board despite the gravel that will be on his tyres. And he's going to have even more gravel on his tyres as he does his best Formula Drift impression. I'm not sure if he's Mad Mike or not, but Mad Mike, the Formula Drift champion, given a run for his money there by Adrian, heading through the last sector there. A great lap up until then though by Adrian. I think on the V-carbs. Are they on a lap? No, they're in the pits. The next car behind is one of the McLarens who was invalidated. One of the, was that an unsafe, or at least they're in the pits there? It was. I think it was one of the V-carbs getting very close to a McLaren there. The GRL Atoms on an outlap. Who is on a flying lap at the moment? I reckon it will be the Haas of Katia. The 2620th Katia, heading past the balconies and past the Clark hillside grandstand and into the turn 9 and 10 zigzag. Very quick section there. It's heading down into the turn 11 corner. Very sharp braking zone, very acute corner. Similar to Kota without the similar to Kota turn 1 without the elevation. He seems to be on a decent lap here. It's heading through the large chicane. Is that going to be the pits? It is. Into the pits for the Haas. Rom Lawn heading around turn 6 and 7. And he's now approaching the balconies, and he's now whizzed past the balconies of Melbourne, and he's now going down Lakeside Drive heading into 9 and 10. I wonder what could be done. And I was a Haas in the way there. Not the best placing there from the Haas in terms of traffic management. I think that looked to be Liam Muck on his outlap. As we head down into the turn 11 braking zone. Very careful around that curve, and he's taken that beautifully. As that's one of the McLarens going through a yellow flag in Algov Ogthy Drive. And now the Ferrari heading around the last corner. There's a Sauber up ahead of him. We'll check for his time to be changing, but it's not. He's just starting his lap. The Ferrari is just ending his lap and going up into P12 and overtaking more leader. So Rom Lawn has mowed the lawn of more leaders P12 time. And meanwhile, there's a couple other drivers starting and finishing laps. One of the Red Bulls of Jami setting a way more representative time of his pace, going up to a 16.2 on that lap, putting him up into P7. Another Alpine gets bogged down by one of our camera cars, one of the cars that are on our cameras even. As over the line comes a lot of other drivers here. I think one of the Aston Martins, are they finishing a lap, I think? I think Adrian's starting his lap. One of the V-Carbs are just starting a lap as well. That's one of the V-Carbs who are just ending their lap, ending an in-lap. I think one of the Alpines maybe finishing there. One of the McLarens have just invalidated. It's a very busy track here, very hard to keep track of. Actually, if I get my controller out, that might be a bit easier to help with camera management. So we see coming round the turn 5-6 section and into turn 6-7 and 8 past the balconies and heading up onto Lakeside Drive. Great, this looks like a very competent lap here by the V-Car. We ride on board with the number 11 previously held by Sergio Perez, now held by AJ Nolan. Oh, he's a bit wide there, but he just keeps it within track limits here. The yellow flag out up ahead. That's one of the Red Bulls having some traffic management. Head into this very acute corner of turn 11 into turn 12 and 13. And he goes past the Schumacher grandstand on the inside of the corner. And now he goes round the last corner, otherwise known as the Prost curve. And down past the Senna grandstand, the Webber grandstand, and the Fangio grandstand until he goes over the line and gets P5, overtaken Liam Muck. Great lap there. There's a skirmish. One of the Alpines are off. Is that Wheater? I think. No, it's not. It's more leader. He's on the inside of turn 4 there. Just on the exit of the Ricardo turn 4. That's a bit of a skirmish there. One of the Saubers, I think, are off as well. In the background it's Raza Gamer who's off just at the pinnacle corner. Very peculiar mistake there. I reckon he's gone deep on there, or he's just trying to stay out of the way of people. Either way, that's not the ideal line through there. It's one of the Williams on a lap. That's not the right Williams. It's the man who's on pole at the moment. One of the Ferraris going slowly there, trying to stay out of the way of traffic. One of the Williams coming in the pits. He understeered there into the pits there. That's very close to a very weird crash into the pits. We have one of the Hasses going over the line here. Is Katia from the bottom of the grid. It goes only up to 19th. And he's only 2 hundredths away from Rom Lawn. And a couple hundredths away as well from more leader in the Alpine. AMS Jobo with a 32.3. That's not really a representative lap, and he's 8 seconds quicker. So we're on for a good time at the moment. I think one of the Alpines are coming over the line, or is he going into the pits? One of the V-Carbs as well. Lots of people pitting. Meanwhile, AMS Jobo is having an absolute gobo on his lap here. Great lap. Oh, I spoke too soon. And he's onto the gravel. He'll still be able to finish that lap though, and I think he could still get it for the Delta as he goes round the last corner and down the straight past the Webber and the Fangio grandstand and over the line. He stays 20th, but with a much more representative time for AMS Jobo. Little bit off the pace so far, but even if you're slow on 1 lap pace, race pace can change your races. You see Jay Slynn heading into the pits, as well as the Sauber of Owen Bozzi coming in ahead of one of the Haas's. That is Katia. He's also coming into the pits as well. The track is really calming down from the busy state it was in earlier, as this is one of the Red Bulls 3.5 seconds down over that. And I reckon he'll be coming into the pits as well. That's Nanu who's coming into the pits. One of the V-Carbs, that is that the YouTube channel known as Alpha Heated. on a lap from P16, looking to make an impression. While the track is nice and clear, I think one of the McLarens have ran out of fuel. That looks like AMS Jobo. As Alpha Heated flies through the last few corners into the Schumacher corner, and then past on the inside of the Prost grandstand and down the straight, and past the Fangio grandstand and then over the line, and that is YT Alpha Heater going up into P14 ahead of the TDR Trusted man, and then the Valentino Rossi Freedom 46 person. That's a bit of a World Endurance Championship reference for you. That's the number 46 BMW. Never mind, as everyone's in the pits and nice and calm at the moment. So, while everything's nice and calm, shall we have a look at some D3 stats? Let's see. As we have a look in general, we can get some radio from the drivers. As that's just some organisational stuff here, so nothing much to comment upon there. Division 3 announcements, what's this about? That's absolutely fine. Drivers' standings, let's have a look then. So, the driver in the lead of the championship is AMS Lloyd on 38 points. If I'm not mistaken, would that be Chris? Who's at the top of the pile at the moment? I reckon that might be Chris. Turbo Chris. And then number 42, Williams. And then comes the GRL Atom, the Austrian man, the number 1 Ferrari, who's 4 points behind Lloyd in the D3 standings. And he's 2 points ahead of Jamie in the Red Bull. Jamie, who's P12 at the moment, not really representing the same status that he has in terms of his championship position at the moment. Adrian's had a pretty good session so far. He's P16 in the standings, yeah, he's P5 in the session. One of the Red Bulls has just gone wide. That is Jamie, who we were just talking about there. We have Raza leading this queue, heading through turn 6 and 7, and as he goes past the balconies onto Lakeside Drive, he's ahead of a flurry of cars. That's the Mercedes, the Alpine, and then behind that is the V-Carb. I think one of the Williams as well. Are they ending their lap? It looks like it is. Yeah, that's Freedom, the 46 Williams entry, heading through turn 1 and 2. Great start to the lap there for Freedom. And if Valentino Rossi saw that, he would be thinking very precise there by the Williams driver. And I'd be inclined to agree with him with that one, as traffic management going on in the final sector, hence the yellow flag. And coming through turn 5 and over into turn 6, but heading through turn 5, what was the corner name again? We head on to Lakeside Drive then with the Williams. There's a lot of traffic management going on in the back of the pack there. I'm inclined to have a look at what that's about. That's one of the Ferraris going slowly. He's really going slowly, really having to space himself out. Meanwhile, Freedom 46 is going way faster than the Ferraris going at the moment. And as they all start their laps in a massive queue, Freedom has the track all to himself here. This might play into his advantage, as everyone's going to get in their way in this final sector of the session as he heads through the Lauda curve. Freedom looking absolutely mighty on this lap, and he's catching up to the V-Carb, who was the last one to come out of the pits out of this lot, who's just come onto their laps now. But Freedom 46 sends the final lap benchmark, and he goes to P11 with a 16.1 from him. Next up is one of the Haas. Is that Katia? Yes, it is. He's a 10th up, and he's up into P15. Great lap by Katia. Then comes one of the Alpines. I don't think he's improved, or he's just started his lap. One of the Taubers are next. He's 500ths up on his lap, heading into the Schumacher curve of turn 13. Then on the inside of the Prost grandstand of turn 16, flying down the straight, past the Fangio grandstand and over the line comes Raza Gamer, who razzes up to P15. Freedom 46 has retired from the session. One of the Mercedes has jumped up the order. It's Pat Pedder. Pat Pedder's got up the order. That's a great lap by him at 15.7, 2/10 off the pole time. And that is one of the Saubers coming over the line. That's Owen heading over the line up into P6. One of the Williams just behind him. Turbo Chris has just got even faster with a 15.3. Nano's just gone way closer up into P2 with a 15.4. One of the Ferraris coming over the line. That is GRL Atom. He spun. Is that during his lap? I think it looks like it. GRL Atom's round. Jaycelyn takes pole position by a hundredth. By a couple thousandths even. Let's get that gap on the interval. That looks absolutely hectic. The gap to the leader is 13 thousandths of a second. That is 900 separating the pole time from third place. Incredible stuff here in D3 of this racing league. And that is the end of qualifying.